Welcome to Yogaroo Online and to Move and Restore week number 4. So in this session, we're going to actually, again, build on where we have been coming for the last 2 weeks. And again, each class is independent, so it doesn't worry if you haven't got to doing those ones. So we've done kind of leg strength, then we've done finding the strength of the legs during the transitions in our practice. So really finding the real stability of those muscles, not just static stability and strength of those muscles. This class, then, I just felt it a natural progression for me would be looking at the hips. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at the hip rotation. But unlike the previous classes where I was helping you to tap into the strength of the legs, this class, I'd like you to look at it slightly differently. And what we're looking for is the fluid movement of the whole kind of 360 hip. So we're not going to be holding the poses anywhere and you know, squeezing the back of the glute, because that's kind of, you know, strengthening just one part of the hip. We're going to be rotating the hip lots. And again, just look for your nice fluid movement, not your full range of movement. So your circles or whatever the movements we're doing can be like 80% of where you kind of feel that your hip mobility or range of movement is. It's just so that I hope that at the end of the class, again, there's always a reason why we're doing these things. You will feel that throughout your day, or hopefully even throughout the weekend, you will feel this lovely fluid movement to your hips where there might have been stickiness or little bits of areas in the hips that were tight. This is just going to give full fluid movements to the hips. Okay, so I think we'll get started. You might find, I think there's 1 or 2 of these movement patterns that I've built on from, I think it was last week's. I just loved where we were rotating the hip out and back in again into our goddess pose. So that will be familiar to you. So coming on to all fours, let's start in our cat-cow position again. Making sure that those knees are under the hips, the wrists are under the shoulders. So when this one, we often like I just love the cat-cow. It's just great for switching your brain on to the things that we are going to be focusing on. And it doesn't work for every focus of a class, but it certainly does for this one because we're looking at the movement of the hips. Now, it's not going to be particularly the rotation, but it certainly will be the tilting forwards and backwards of the hips. So I'm going to guide you into each of the poses and then we'll flow through them. So continue to breathe when we come into it. So on our inhale, and continue to breathe, the belly softens down towards the ground. You press into your hands. You might even press the fingers into the ground and draw them back towards you a little bit, which will open your chest nicely. But the focus of our class is the tilt of the pelvis. So I'm kind of trying to exaggerate here. So by all means, don't come into your extreme range of motion because we're only warming up particularly. But I'm just trying to show you how far my pelvis is tilting down as opposed to neutral. And tilting up, so you can see it tilting down. So that's the forward rotation of the pelvis. And then in our exhale, we lift our spine up towards the ceiling and feel the pelvis tilting up and back. And then remembering last week we did our different movements. So we gave a little bit of a squeeze to the back of glutes there, core engaged, and then inhaling, letting the pelvis drift forward and down. Squeeze into the back of the glutes again there, a little bit, soften the belly. Exhaling, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. So starting to really feel this rotation of the pelvis on those 2 heads of the femurs, the 2 heads, those big round heads of the thigh bones there. So just let's take 3 rounds with your breath, and I'll try to not be giving too much alignment cues here because I really want you to have the experience of feeling that rotation of your lovely pelvic bowl as it tilts forward and back. So inhaling, the belly softens down, gaze comes forward, and exhaling, lift the spine up and back. And maybe even if it feels okay for you to do, maybe put the hand in the middle and put one hand on your back and even just feel the pelvis tilting forward and back. Maybe even feeling the hands on the sides of the hip there as you feel the pelvis tilting forwards and back. And notice that the thigh is very much set in its position there, which means it's just the pelvis And of course, a chain reaction of the spine there that's moving forward and back. Okay, I think we've probably done enough of that. So our next one, we're going to do some rotations through the hip there. We're going to do it with the breath now. So we're going to lift your right leg up. So I'll just flip around so you can see me. Out to the side on an inhale, and then exhale, press it back. So see the way I've kind of frogged my foot out to the side there? I have my foot flexed. We're going to press it back. Rotate the foot down. Inhale, out to the side. Exhale, press it back. Okay, and then rotate the foot down. So what we're getting there is a rotation of the hip, but we're also getting internal and external rotation. So there's lots going on there. So inhale, out to the side, foot flexed. Exhale, press it back. Rotate the foot towards the ground. So try to not let this hip open too much, but don't worry too much about it, like, as in opening to the side, because you might need it to open a little bit to give the space for the hip to move, but at the same time don't have it too wide open. We're still trying to keep the hips reasonably level to the ground. So let's do 2 more of them. Inhale, out to the side, foot flexed here. Exhale, press the foot back, rotate the foot down, toes down towards the ground. Inhale, bend the knee, lift it out to the side. We'll do just our last one. And then exhale, press the foot away, rotate the foot down towards the ground, and come back to all fours. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side now. So on our inhale, we're going to lift the left leg up, press the foot in flex position, and exhale, press the foot away, rotate the whole leg as a unit so that the toes reach down towards the ground. Inhale, bend the knee, flex the foot, lift the leg out to the side as much as possible, or as much as it's comfortable. Again, we're not looking for too much of a squeeze in the back of the hips there. Rotate the foot round to the ground. Do 1 more of them. Inhale, fluid movement. Yes, we are using the muscles, but we're not necessarily trying to isolate any one of them. It's all the muscles of the hip, okay? And then down towards the ground. And the next one, we're going to lift the hip or lift the leg out to the side on our inhale. And then exhale, we're literally just going to tap the knee to the outside of the left knee there. Inhale to lift. Foot flexed, I think always kind of just helps to keep everything active. And exhale, tap the foot to the left of the knee there, the left of the left knee. Last time, inhale to lift and exhale to tap. Back to all 4 positions. We'll come to the left side now. So just inhale to lift, exhale, tapping to the outside of the right knee now. Inhale, lifts you, foot flexed. Exhale, tap to the right. Inhale to lift. And exhale, tap to the right. Okay, and then we're just going to sit down. So sit down on your hips there. Just bring the feet kind of hip distance apart and have your fingers pointing away from you there. We're going to do this a little bit throughout the class. I just find it's just such a lovely one to kind of wash out any sort of over movement in any one particular part of the hip. So literally you're just going to windscreen wipe the legs from side to side there. So I just think this feels lovely. So can you keep a little bit of integrity through the spine there, so we don't want to dip too much and lose the curves of our spine. It's just the feet can be hip distance apart or maybe mat distance apart, just depending how far down the knees can go towards the ground. Okay, and then just swing the legs around, come to all 4s again. Let's just pivot on the toes of the right foot, reach the left leg away on our inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee, reach your hands towards the foot, but don't hold on to them. Okay, and then back to all 4s. We'll do the same thing on the left-hand side. Pivot the left toes out to the side, reach the left leg away, or right leg away, reach the arm up. And then exhale, reach the right hand towards the right foot, but don't hold on to it. Come back to all 4s. Okay, inhale, step your right foot forward. Step your left leg forward. On an exhale, fold down, deep bend in the knees. Inhale, press into your feet, reach the arms up high. And exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. So let's just take one moment just to find our grounding through our feet here now. We're going to go through a little bit of a standing flow with the leg lifted. So let's find the good foundation of our feet here. Lift all those toes up, place them down one at a time. And even if I don't cue this, it's really good discipline, or you're doing another class when the teacher doesn't cue it. This is really good for finding that connections, the connections between your legs and your feet here, just to really purposely place your feet on the ground here. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll face you this way. We're going to do a little bit of movement through the legs. So again, it's going to be one-legged standing balances. So if you need to bring yourself towards close to a wall or a dresser or something, just in case you need to hold on to something, maybe try it without holding on, and then have something nearby to you that you can just lean up against if you need to. Okay, so think again of that rotation that we were getting through the hip when we were in our tabletop position. We're going to try the same thing in a standing balance. So have a little bit of a spring to that left leg there as we bring the right leg up. Flex the foot. I just feel that kind of gives a little bit of energy to the leg. Inhale here, and then exhale. We're just going to rotate that leg out to the side and reach the leg behind you. Any amount, and then inhale back to the front again. I'll show you that from the side as well. So we're just going to inhale, lift the leg, and exhale, reach it behind you, and then bring it to the front again. So it can be as high or as low to the ground as you want. It can even be close down to the ground. It really doesn't matter, because this is what we're working on today. So this might be you just bringing it to the forward and tapping, and then bringing it to the side and a little bit back and tapping. I'll show you that from the front again, or from the side. Forward tap, and then back tap. Look at the same rotation. So that's that version, and this is the other version. But look, it's the same thing that's happening in the hip there, okay? The only thing we're adding to this one is a little bit more challenge to the standing leg. So there's two versions there for you, and take whichever one suits you. We're going to do the same thing on the left leg now. All right, so yeah, pour all your weight into your right foot there. Lift the left leg up, flexing the foot, and then exhale, lifting it out to the side, reach it behind you. And if you're doing it with the leg lifted, see, can you keep that foot kind of high as you reach it behind you? Inhaling to the front and exhale, lifting it back. And we'll do one more. Inhaling to the front and exhale, lifting to the back. I'm bringing that foot down now. Okay, inhale, reach the arms up high. And exhale, you're going to step that left foot back and find our way into arrowhead. I'm going to come through a little flow here where we're going to have a little bit of rotation through the hips here. So this is our starting position. This is your exhale. And then on an inhale, you're going to ground that left foot and reach the right arm up and over into our reverse warrior. Exhale, pivot that whole leg. So let's bring the hands to the position the area that we're working on, so you can actually really see it, the movement that we're working on happening. So we're going to pivot that whole hip onto the ball of our foot so it comes forward and we reach our arms back. On our inhale, we're going to pivot that whole leg to lift and place down, reach the arm up and over. So just to bring it might help or it might not, just to bring your hand to the hip to see it rotating forward and open. Forward and open. Okay, so let's flow through that 3 times, starting in arrowhead here on your exhale. Inhale, ground that left foot. Right leg stays bent, right arm reaches up and over. Exhale, pivot that left foot around, come to arrowhead again. Inhale, ground that left foot, reaching the right arm up and over. Second round. Exhale, pivot the foot around into arrowhead. Last round. Inhale, ground that left foot, reach the right arm up and over, right leg bent. And exhale, pivot the left foot around, back to arrowhead. Inhale, reach the arms up high. Exhale, ground that left foot now, and we'll make our way into our warrior. So lovely opening of the hips here, rotating those hips out to the side, particularly on this right side here. Okay, and then we're going to come into reverse warrior. Now, listen carefully for this one. We're going to come to the back of your mat now. So we're going to straighten the right leg, bend the left leg, and reach that left arm forward and bend the right arm. Okay, we're going to flow through this a few times. This is called skater pose. So we're going to come through this left or right and left a few times. So we'll end up at the right side of our mat. Okay, so listen carefully to the transition here and keep the hips nice and low. We're going to reach the arms up. We're almost like we're coming into goddess pose as we straighten the left leg and bend the right leg. Right arm reaches, left arm bent. Okay, so that's the flow. Let's go through it a few times so you can get comfortable with it and focus your attention on those hips there. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend left knee, straighten right leg. Don't worry too much about the positions of your feet. In general, that right foot is kind of at the 45 degrees. The left foot is facing towards the back of the mat, and then we reverse it. Inhale, sweep the arms up, pivot the feet, bend right knee, straighten left leg. We'll do one more round, back and front. Inhale, reach the arms up, bend left knee, straighten right leg, reach left arm forward, bend right arm. Back to the front. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend right knee, straighten left leg, reach right arm forward. Okay, and then just place your right hand on your right knee, left hand on left hip, and just step that left foot forward. So that's our full flow, our full first flow. So we need to repeat that now on the left side of the body. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And then exhale, we're just going to come into arrowhead on the left side. So the left leg comes back. So we're going to do the same thing now. I'll just come to the back of my mat so you can see me. Remembering the first section of the flow is where we grounded that left foot or right foot. So we're grounding the right foot now and coming into our reverse. And remembering this is about this leg pivoting closed and open. So we're closing and opening. Again, it might help you to bring your hand to the hip there and just really feel what's happening in that big, huge socket. So we're exhaling into our arrowhead, inhaling to ground that right foot, reach the left arm up and over. Then pivot the right foot round into arrowhead, ground the right foot into reverse. We'll do one more round. Pivot the foot around for arrowhead, ground the foot into reverse. Okay, and then we're going to come up into arrowhead to start with. Inhale, reaching into our high lunge, and exhale into our warrior. So we're going to come into reverse now on our inhale, and we're going to do our skater to the front and the back of the mat again now. So remembering we're starting going back towards the way that left arm is reaching. So we straighten our left leg, bend the right leg, reach the right arm forward and the left arm back. Okay, inhale, reach the arms up. It's just really to get the arms out of the way. Pivot the feet around. So it's like they come through center. The right foot pivots, the left foot reaches to the back of the mat. Left arm reaches, right arm bends. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten both legs. And then exhale, reach right arm forward, left arm bent. And then inhale, reach the arms up, pivot the feet, face toward the front of your mat now, left arm bent, left arm straight, right arm bent. Then place left hand on left knee, right hand on hip, and just step, might even take 2 steps to step that right leg forward. Inhale, reach the arms up high, and exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. Okay, so that is our first flow. And we have another one now with 2 different versions that will kind of consciously rotate through the hips there. But again, we're going to start with another version of that standing balance where we were taking the hip into our full rotation like we did in our cat-cow position. So for this one, we're going to inhale here, maybe even having the hands in prayer position, and exhale, lift the knee again. So remembering, wall nearby if you need it. This one's a little bit more challenging. So if this one is not for you, stick with the version where we do this type of thing, or trying this one maybe on this round. What we're going to do is we're going to come into this version where we're going to bring the leg into kind of figure 4 in a standing position. Okay, so inhale, lift that right leg up, and exhale, place the right foot on the left knee and just bend that left knee there. Inhale to lift, and exhale, right foot to left knee. One more time. Inhale to lift, and exhale, right foot, left knee, hips down. Inhale to lift, and exhale, place that right foot down. We'll go straight over to the opposite side now. So inhale, lift that left leg up, and exhale, bend the right knee, place left ankle on right knee. Inhale, lift, and exhale, bending. So you feel that whole hip rotating out to the side there. Last time, inhale, lift, exhale, figure four. Right ankle on left knee. Inhale to lift, and exhale, place the left foot down there now. Okay, top of the mat there. Inhale, reach the arms up high, and exhale, stepping that left foot back now. Oh, so actually this is our flow that we did last week, which I really liked, and it kind of inspired me for this actual class. So this is the one that we did last week where we exhaled here, and then we inhale into our goddess. So remember this one, and this gives us a lovely opening through that left hip there. Okay, so let's come together now just in this. Now the knee doesn't have to come all the way down. That's more of a challenge for the strength of the legs. So you can just stay in your high lunge, or else coming down if you want to add the leg activity to it, okay? So this is your exhale. Inhale, pivot that whole left foot open to the side of your mat, feet at a 45-degree angle, and dip the hips down for your goddess. Okay, so that's a lovely, like really good rotation for that left hip there. Okay, so exhale, dip the knee down if you're doing that. And inhale, open that whole leg out to the side into our goddess. We'll do one more of them. Exhale, knee comes down, or else just your high lunge. And inhale into your goddess, let the hips dip. Exhale to the front of your mat, let's come into arrowhead. And inhale, reach the arms up high. Exhale into our warrior. Whoops, wrong direction. Into your warrior, so the hips to the side of your mat there. And inhale into reverse. Okay, so for our final movement, we're going to keep the legs in the warrior position, or that's the starting position. We're going to keep that left hand on the left thigh and reach the right arm forward. And then what we're going to do is simply pivot that right foot around to be in the same kind of position as the left foot. So have the left foot, I know strictly speaking, you know, in warrior, it's usually at a 45-degree angle, but just have it parallel to the sides of your mat. So we're going to end up in this position with both edges, outer edges of our feet parallel to the outside edges of our mat, okay? So this is where we end up, and we come from this position where the foot is pivoted. So pivoting the foot is where you just literally, easiest way to do it is press your weight into the back of the heel there and pivot the toes around and come to the front of your mat, okay? Again, there's that hip rotation there, right arm reaching forward, okay? So that is our exhale. Exhale here. Let's do 3 rounds just to get a bit of fluid movement here. This is our exhale, nice and simple. Inhale, straighten that front leg and just pivot that right foot around into standing to the side of your mat. Okay, and then back to our exhale, just reach the arm forward, bend the front knee to the front of the mat, and exhale to the side of your mat. Nice simple flip for that front foot. Pivot the foot to the front of your mat, reach the arm forward, and exhale to the side of your mat, or inhale. Last one. Exhale to the side of your mat, reach the arm forward, and stay up tall to the spine, and inhale to the side of your mat. Okay, again, a lovely little opening and closing to that hip there. Pivot to the front of your mat, step that left leg forward, and find your way into Tadasana. Let's take a moment here now. We're about to take our last round of standing poses. And just see, can you feel a difference in the left and the right side of the body there? We've just done a lot of work on the right side. So can you feel more connected to the ground on the right side? You know, maybe even let's, at this point, come up onto the ball of our right foot and circle the hip around. And then ground the right foot and circle the left hip around. Now, we probably should have done this in the middle of our first flow, but I certainly can feel a lovely fluidity to the right side and a little bit of fluidity to the left, but certainly there's more fluidity to the right. So let's even ourselves out now by coming into our flow on the left side. Okay, so we are going to, I'm going to take my book with me now because it's a complicated one and I don't want to have my back to you. So we're going to start now with the left side of the final flow. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And then exhale, hands in prayer position, step that right leg back now. So the left leg is going to be forward for the second side. Remembering this side, this flow again, it's either you bring the knee down or you just stay in your high lunge here. This is your exhale. Then your inhale, we're just literally opening that whole hip to the side of your mat and coming into your goddess. Let the hips drop down. Exhale, pivot the foot around to the front of your mat into your low lunge. Inhale, pivot the foot around to the back of your mat. Now for this one, it makes more sense to be on the ball of your foot. So just depending on the transition, sometimes the heel makes sense and sometimes the ball of the foot. So certainly for this one, it's the ball of the foot that we transition through. Okay, so exhaling, knee comes down if you're working on the legs. Inhaling, pivot the whole foot to the side of the mat. Let the hips come down. We'll do one more of them. Pivot the foot around to the front of your mat. Exhaling, opening that hip. Feel that whole leg rotating out to the side. Let the hips come down and be heavy. Okay, and then coming back to the front again. Reach the arms back for arrowhead on our exhale. Inhale to reach the arms up high again. And exhale, ground that left foot, or right foot now, coming into our warrior pose. We're going to inhale into our reverse. And that arm stays there now. And we're going to exhale, reach that right arm, our left arm now forward. So starting position for our final little mini flow here. And just remembering this one, it's where we literally pivot that left foot around to the side of your mat, drop the arm and pivot the foot to the side of the mat and reach that left arm forward. Okay, exhaling here, inhaling, pivot the foot to the side, place left hand on left thigh. And then exhaling, bend the left knee, reach the left arm forward. Pivoting the foot around for our inhale, place hands on thighs. Exhale, pivot the foot around, reach the left arm forward. Do one more of them. Inhale, reach the leg, or pivot the foot to the front of the side of your mat. And then exhale, pivot the foot, reach the left arm forward. Okay, place left hand on left knee, pivot that left foot around, or right leg around, and maybe take 2 steps to step that left leg forward, right leg forward. Oh, lots of lefts and rights today. Okay. So let's do that again now. Just stand to the side of our mat and see have we equaled everything out. So pour all your weight into your left foot, come up really gently now. Just let the muscles just be so relaxed here as you just pivot, pivot the hips. So, making circles with your knee will give you pivot in the hip there. Lots of pivots today. Okay, and see how that feels. Again, we're not looking for your absolute 360 range of movement. It's just the fluid movement within our walking and moving day. Okay, and then press that right foot down, come up into the ball of the left foot and just gently making circles. Yes, that definitely feels more equal for me and my hip. A nice, lovely fluidity on both sides. Okay. Now we're getting ready to come down. Do one more little active rotation before we come into our restorative practice. Let's just make our way down to the ground. So inhale, reach the arms up high. Exhale, folding down, bending the knees if you need to. Place your hands on the ground. Step that right leg back, right knee comes down, left leg back, left knee comes down. Let's do our windscreen wiper. So come on to your hips, our sitting position. Have the fingertips reaching towards the back of your mat there. Feet either hip distance or mat distance apart. Let's just windscreen wipe the legs from side to side here. Again, they don't have to come all the way down to the ground. Just coming to the point that feels good for you. The hips do lift and pivot as well with this one. There's still plenty of rotation happening in the legs. So you're also getting a nice massage on the back of the glutes there, which is lovely if you've been doing lots of standing poses, which we have been doing. Okay, so we're going to try one more thing. So if you're going to come to seated, you're going to bend your left knee and bend your right knee as well. So coming into this star shape with the leg. So right knee bent, right foot on top of the left thigh, left leg bent, left leg outside the left hip. Okay, pour all your weight onto your right foot here now. What we're going to do is lift, in fact, have both hands behind you. I'm up on the fingertips of my left hand and I'm on the pad of my right hand there. We're literally going to lift that left leg up, tap it to the outside or anywhere, can to the inside or the outside of that right leg, and then bring the leg down again. Okay, so it's a little bit of seated rotation. Do that 3 times. So second time, lift the leg, tap to the outside of the left or the right knee, and then bringing it down. Last time, lift the leg, bring it to the outside of the right knee, and bring it down. Okay, so then just bring the legs up and windscreen wipe them to the opposite side. So now I have my left knee bent here, or both knees bent, but my left foot is on the top of my right thigh here. I'm going to ground my left hand down and I'm going to place my right hand behind me up on my fingertips there. We're going to lift the right leg now and just lift it gently, tap it to the outside of the left leg now. And then coming back, placing it gently on the ground. Second time, lifting, rotating in the socket, tap it gently to the outside or the inside, whatever suits. And then bring the leg down. Last time, lifting the leg, gently, smooth movement, purposeful rotation. And then exhale, bringing the leg down again. Okay, I think you have very much earned your restorative today. Lots of activity today. So let's just come down onto our backs and hug the knees in towards our chest, any amount. So for me, I'm just going to hold on to them, and it's almost like my arms are taking any, you know, real strong, having to hold the legs up. So they're doing the work of the legs. So I'm not hugging my knees in, I'm not causing too much sensation in the back of the hips there. It's almost like I'm just wrapping myself in a little bow to eliminate any muscular activity. And then let's counterpose that by reaching the legs away and reaching the arms up behind you. And take a deep breath here now. Let's inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do another one of them. So inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Things are always better in unequal numbers. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So just finding our relax and restore through an extended exhale there. Okay, bringing the hands down either side of the body, bend the knees, and just rolling over to whatever side suits you. Press the arm down to help lift you up. Now, for our first pose, we're going to get a blanket. We're going to just lift the hips up so that we're going to kind of open at the front of the hips there. So this might be one that you might need to adjust a little because everyone's very different with their hip flexors. And you know, this muscle here at the front of your thigh, if you sit a lot, it might be quite tight. So you might need a smaller roll, or if you feel quite free in movement and your back bends are quite open, you might need a higher roll. So just see how it feels. It's the important thing is that you will know if it's too high because you will feel an overarch in your lower back there. So that's what we're going to be looking out for in this pose. So have a 4-fold blanket there, that kind of a size. Place it down on the ground and just roll it up. So how we'll adjust that, I rolled it on the short side there. If you kind of know that your hip flexors are quite tight, you could roll it on the long side, which will be less height. And then again, if you feel that you need to adjust this while we're in the pose, just literally take your roll out and just remove part of the roll. So just unroll it a little bit and pop it back underneath you. We're going to have the blanket in the center of our mat there now. And what we're looking for, so the position that we want the hips to be in is you want the crease. So see this crease at the front of my hip there. I want that to be sitting on top of the roll there so that it's the thing that is being stretched, okay? So I'm just going to come down to line and just place the roll so that it's underneath that crease there. And get yourself feeling nice and supported by the roll there. And then just gently stretch out. And you might even do it one leg at a time if both legs feels too much for you there. So let's do it one at a time, and then I'll give you the option for both of them. So lengthen the right leg out there and feel that little stretch now at the front of the right hip there, the right hip flexor, the psoas muscle. Let's take a 4-6 breath here. So breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as you're exhaling, see, can you really let the muscles around the front of your hip there melt onto the blanket underneath it. So we'll try the same thing with the other side. So bend up the right knee there, lengthen the left leg away. So remembering as we exhale, we're almost trying to make everything heavier down towards the ground and letting go of all the little bits of muscle activity. So inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhaling and really letting go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you can do the single side again, and I'll do 2 counts so that you can do 1 on each side, or you can try both legs and you'll be holding it for 2 counts, just so that the single leg person can catch up. So lengthening both legs out now and feeling that stretch across those frontal hip bones there. If you feel anything in the lower back, it can help even to tilt the pelvis, if that makes sense to you, back a little bit so that it takes the over arch of the lumbar spine out of the equation, which will also give more intense stretch to the front of the hips there. So let's do 2 rounds of breath here. So inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. And really letting the hips go now for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just taking a breath, a normal breath, a regular breath there. Bending both knees up now, lifting the hips up and just popping that brick, or not the brick, the blanket out to the side there. Let's just bring the legs into constructive rest and take a moment here to absorb the practice so far before we take our next restorative pose. So for constructive rest, feet are mat distance apart, knees knocked in together, palms facing up, a little bit of space between your arms and your hands. And just feeling that little bit of release to the stretch there with the knees bent. Okay, and let's get ready to move on to our next pose, which is the biggie, the best pose ever, and particularly for the practice we've just had. And I hope now you'll find a lovely opening in this. We're going to spend a little bit of time making sure that we're really happy in it. You need all your blankets, all our props today. So 4 blankets, bolster and bricks. So last week we did a reclined pose with the legs straight as far as I can remember. And we did the bricks on a medium height and the lowest height. We're going to try the highest height here now and the medium height, okay? So it's nice to be up a little bit higher for this bound angle reclined pose that we're going to do. So just make sure that you're happy that that back brick is nice and stable. So that's my bolster. And then we're going to have all our blankets ready there beside us. We're going to bring our hips. Now, definitely leave a little bit of space between the bolster and the hips here, about an inch or two, because if you're up too tight, you'll push the whole bolster back, or you'll come into too much of an arch on your back there. So you have to make sure that you have a bit of space there. Let's get the legs ready before we come into our lying position. Fourth blanket is optional, and that can be just at the back of your bolster there if you like to have your head raised a little bit when you're reclined. Okay, so now this one, I've guided you into this one before, but I'll go through it nice and slowly. So bring your blanket into a two-fold. So we want plenty of space here now. Two-fold. We're going to pop it along the bottom of our mat there, with a bit of space underneath as well. So you have a bit of blanket underneath you here as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a wrap, a foot wrap here. So really these ends of your blanket are the most important thing. Let's fold the top part of the blanket over the feet there, okay? And then we're going to take these two ends of the blankets and wrap them around your feet. Oh, that's not working for me today. Usually it goes forward and under. There we go. Okay, I forgot the under bit. So what you're doing is wrapping your feet and bringing the blankets underneath the sides to make sure that they're secured under there. So just, I'll show you that again. So I've wrapped them like that. And then I've taken the two long ends here, either side. You can take that bit with you too. And I've brought them under, in between my legs, under the thigh, under the calves there. And I've pulled the two ends out. So that's causing like a little wrap for your feet. And you can place the ends underneath the ankles there as well. So it keeps everything in place there. And then that's the feet position sort of. We want to make sure that our thighs are supported too. So your other blankets, just roll them up to about that thick. And we're going to wedge them underneath our thighs. So, you know, regardless of how high your knees are in this pose, the higher they are, the more you wedge that blanket underneath. Have it at kind of a 45-degree angle so that it's working with the direction of your leg. If it's too straight, it's not really holding it in place and it can be kind of uncomfortable. So again, your blanket's about that size. You roll it up and then you wedge it underneath your right leg. As comfortable or as high up as you need to. Fix the little foot wrap there, make sure it's tucked under. Okay, my legs are happy, they feel good and supported. Place the hands either side of your bolster there and come down nice and slowly. So you have to make sure that we don't disturb that back brick there, and bring the head onto your blanket if you feel you need one. Okay, so here we are. We have put some good time into the setup of this one. So hopefully you really feel nice and supported here. That back brick looks okay. Palms facing up towards the ceiling and really feeling that lovely opening to the hips there. So if you think about all those poses that we did today, we were opening the hips out to the side, and in this pose now we're opening both of them at the same time. So feel these inner seams of the legs just draping down in towards this bowl that we have created, this lovely bowl, our pelvic bowl, which is the center of the pose. So trace down through the inner seam of your right thigh, in down towards the bowl of the pelvis. This fluid bowl of movement. Trace down through the left inner thigh, the seam of your leg in towards the bowl of the pelvis. Then trace down from the tip of your crown through the entirety of your skull, your neck. Find your spine, your upper spine, your mid spine, your lower spine, down through your sacrum and into the pelvic bowl. And feel these three fluid lines flowing into the pelvis. And these lines are causing that lovely watery sensation of the pelvis. Using your breath to help you really settle now into this pose. Maybe even using your 4-6 breath. The inhale is where we energize, and the exhale is where we ground and restore. When we inhale, our heart increases a little bit, and when we exhale, our heart decreases. That's why the exhale is so important in our restorative part of our practice. And as usual, if you're finding those little bits of chatter are getting stuck in your mind, use that technique that we've been doing most weeks now, where we trace through the muscles of our face and see can we find any little bits of tension in the sockets of our eyes, space between the temples, the skin across our forehead, smooth as silk. The skin that runs up and across our crown, our skull, like fluid. And see, can you feel for the spaces within the skull, the space between the bones of our skull and the grey matter of our brain. Feel that nice bit of pressure at the back of your head there, nice acupuncture point, or pressure point, probably not acupuncture. Feel the skin across your cheekbones, soft and smooth as silk. And settling into a few moments of silence here and just feeling for the sensations and the observations yourself now. Okay, so let's get ready now to come out of this pose and listen carefully. I'm going to guide you out of it really gently. So bring your right hand on your right thigh, on the outer side of your right thigh, and just use the strength of your arm to gently lift that left knee up. I do the same on the other side. So hand on the outside of your left thigh and gently lift that left leg up. And then just maybe even squeeze the legs together there, just finding neutral again, a little bit of a squeeze through the outer hips. Place the hands either side of your bolster there and really gently lift yourself up. You can leave your feet in that nice wrap there and just maybe just shift them down towards the end of your mat. So we're going to come into our Shavasana, but we're going to keep our legs in our wrap there. Lift the pillow off your bolster there if you had it. Let's unravel this second one. We're going to pop that onto our hips. And then we're going to grab our bolster and maybe put it underneath our knees here for our Shavasana. So let's take a bit of a supported Shavasana here. Move your bricks out of the way. Option to take a neck roll. So just to remind you what the neck roll is, it's a blanket folded in 4. And then you just roll the bottom end, the short end, just once or twice. And then pop that at the top of your mat. So you're just trying to fill the space at the back of your cervical spine, the back of your neck there. We're not trying to lift it at all. And then just gently using your arms, bring yourself down one elbow at a time into Shavasana. So just making sure you nuzzle your blanket roll, maybe roll it more if it needs it. Now, if you have a spare blanket out to the side there, let's pop that across our hips. And that's just to kind of, you know, give them a little bit of love and attention and appreciation and gratitude. Okay, so this is the Shavasana that I'm going to take, but if there's any part of this that you don't want, you can just take out. You know, if you don't want the bolster under the knees, just push that out to the side. If you want to feel a bit of air on your feet, just kick your foot wrap off, or just, you know, amend your Shavasana to how you want to close your class off and feel a lovely symmetry in the body. So as lovely as the seated recline poses are, it's always so nice to just come back down to the ground and take a restorative Shavasana after you've had a reclined pose. Finding neutral and finding the surface underneath you that carries you throughout your day. So finding your own breath here, your breath pattern that suits you. Taking another few moments of silence to close your practice off. I'm getting ready to move now. Let's reach the arms overhead, take a stretch. Bring a little bit of movement into the toes, maybe kick your foot wrap to the side. Maybe kick the bolster out to the side and bring the legs down to the ground. Arms still reaching overhead if that feels good. Bend the knees up, rolling over to your right hand side. Press your left hand into the ground to help lift you up. And coming around to a comfortable seated position at the side of your mat there, or the front of your mat. Hands in prayer position at your heart. Lift up tall through the spine now. Open the shoulders. Set your poise or your pose for the day. Thumbs to your third eye, to your lips, to your heart center, and namaste. And thank you for joining me. So next week will be the last week of session 3, moving and restore. So I think what we're going to do next week is a nice all round good feel flow. So thank you for joining me, and see you again next week.